The Phantom Menace introduced us to a whole galaxy of new Star Wars characters. But while newcomers like actress Natalie Portman and 11-year-old Jake Lloyd are looking forward to a stellar success, you should be warned that being part of the Star Wars phenomenon doesn't always mean the Force will be with you. Movie Line Magazine's Larry Grobel.
There is some talk about a Star Wars curse.
I'm not afraid.
You will be.
Take Mark Hamill, who played the farm boy hero Luke Skywalker.
I got him!
Right before the movie's premiere in '77. Hamill was in a devastating car crash.
Basically destroyed his nose. They had to rebuild his nose from cartilage from his ear.
Jason Harper is the associate editor of the new men's magazine Gear, which reveals 20 things you didn't know about Star Wars.
At the beginning of the second movie, they have a large space alien wampa hit him in the face to explain the scarring on his face.
Then there's Carrie Fisher, a.k.a. Feisty Princess Leia.
Somebody has to save us kids.
Today, she's a successful screenwriter. But in the 80s, after the collapse of her marriage to singer Paul Simon, Carrie plunged into heavy depression and drug use, ending up in rehab. Last year, Carrie checked herself back into a clinic struggling with prescription drugs. Carrie's mom, entertainer Debbie Reynolds, who's a spokeswoman for osteoporosis, says her daughter is now doing fine.
She's not the type to fall apart, and she picks herself up and she goes right on.
Star Wars creator George Lucas may be worth an estimated $2.5 billion, but the unmarried Lucas has not been able to create a fantasy life off-screen. George's wife of 16 years, film editor Marcia Griffin, left him, he says, for a younger man.
He had a very difficult divorce in 1983.
And remember Billy D. Williams from The Empire Strikes Back? Back in 1996, bad luck hit Williams when he was ordered to attend counseling after allegedly roughing up his then-girlfriend. He's denied the charges, and they've since been dismissed.
It's forgotten, and I like my life to move on.
Billy D. will soon make a movie comeback. He's written a novel and is an artist. His paintings, some of them Star Wars influenced, fetch up to $35,000 each.
Skywalker will join us or die.
You probably recognize Darth Vader's distinctive voice as that of actor James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
But did you know it wasn't Jones underneath the helmet, but a British weightlifter named David Prowse? Pre-Star Wars, Prowse played the Frankenstein monster and was also in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. His misfortune was having his voice dubbed.
He had to put up with basic anonymity despite being one of the most famous villains in all of history.
Star Wars magic will soon repeat itself with The Phantom Menace. Hopefully the new cast can avoid the dark side of the Force.
The Force will be with you, always.
Harrison Ford is back in the highly anticipated Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Jones!
Jones.
This time, Indy's in hot pursuit of a crystal skull with amazing magical powers.
Whoever returns the skull to the city temple will be given control over its power.
But we didn't have to go to the ends of the earth for our own crystal skull.
Wow, it's huge.
We found one at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It's carved from a solid block of quartz.
About how much does it weigh?
It weighs 31 pounds.
Where crystal skulls come from is a mystery. Some think they're thousands of years old and come from an ancient civilization.
Dr. Jane Walsh has studied crystal skulls just like her fictional colleague, Indiana Jones. She writes about them for the cover story in the new issue of Archaeology magazine.
Don't look it in the eye because they're supposed to be cursed.
Guarded by the living dead.
Sounds like a perfect plot for a movie, but there's just one problem. Dr. Walsh says crystal skulls aren't ancient carvings at all.
All of the ones that I've looked at were carved with modern tools.
Dr. Walsh says the first skull was a hoax created by a French antiquities dealer just over 100 years ago. A dozen are now housed in museums around the world.
Do you think they're all fakes then?
Yes.
But listen, folks, don't let that get in the way of your movie-going pleasure.
The French Riviera became the kingdom of the Crystal Skull as the stars of the new Indiana Jones movie walked the red carpet in Cannes. Indy himself, Harrison Ford, traded his fedora and whip for for a sleek tux to debut the 4th installment of the series with longtime girlfriend Callista Flockhart at his side. Now, the red carpet is always a black tie affair here at Cannes. Even we have to wear a tux. But this year, since the big movie is the Indiana Jones flick, the producers decided to have a little fun. They handed out to all the assembled press these trademark Indiana Jones hats. The first reviews are in and it looks like a hit. Check out the front page of the New York Post. Knockout. The New York Daily News declares, hats off to Indy. And the USA Today headline reads, Indiana Jones wields enough snap to satisfy.
It has a built-in audience because, it has the fathers bringing their sons to see the film they remembered from Raiders.
The movie brings back Indy's love interest from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Indy! Ow!
Karen Allen was 29 back then, and here she is at 56. The years have also been kind to Harrison Ford. He was 38 when the adventure saga started, and today he's 65.
I'm very gratified that there's been a consistent interest in this character and these films.
By his side at the press conference in Cannes, Cate Blanchett, looking fit after giving birth to her third son just 5 weeks ago. She plays the villain, a Soviet scientist.
You will help us find it.
The youngest star of the movie, 21-year-old Shia LaBeouf, wasn't even born when Indiana Jones first came to life, but he's taking his moment in the international spotlight in stride.
The sleek, sexy, and undeniably dark style of The Matrix has spawned a fashion phenomenon. Time magazine has the cast on its most recent cover, so we asked Disa Philadelphia, Time magazine's entertainment correspondent, about The Matrix look.
A lot of it is coming off the screen and onto the runways now. It's very urban, it's very high fashion.
But what do the stars of the film think about their stylized costumes?
Oh, I love it. It's very sleek and chic.
I think it's kind of groovy. People walking around in black trench coats is kind of cool.
We visited Henry Bendel's in New York to see if we could find the Matrix look. Already on the racks are these form-fitting leather jackets like Jada Pinkett Smith's character wore.
It's a very sexy biker, chic combat look.
The first must-have to achieve the Matrix look is a pair of very dark, slim-frame sunglasses. Secondly, you'll need a long black coat. A tailored leather one is preferable, and if you are a very daring kind of girl, slip into a cat suit for the full effect. And here's a hint for all you guys, check out the latest Sean John collection.
I think that if you just get yourself a basic black suit and a shiny shirt, kind of a silky fabric, you can really rock the look very easily.
Oh, and don't forget to have a butt-kicking attitude, too.
Matrix Revolutions is packed with those heart-stopping stunts Matrix fans have come to expect. But many of those stunts aren't state-of-the-art special effects. They are performed by actual stunt people. Meet Danielle Bergio, the 5'7" powerhouse who stunt doubles for Carrie-Anne Moss's character Trinity. While filming the Matrix sequels, Carrie-Anne did do many of her own stunts.
My job was I would train with her, I would help her, and I would set it up. They'd work it out on me.
Carrie-Anne actually broke her leg while filming, and Danielle is no stranger to injuries herself.
I actually broke my rib on Matrix.
As Danielle demonstrated at LA's action-oriented studios, many of the choreographed routines using either bodies or sticks while flying in a harness are not for the faint of heart. I got to try the signature Trinity Matrix move myself. It was a lot of fun, but it's definitely not easy.
Oh, are you okay?
But she says she doesn't mind that the stars get all the credit for her death-defying moves.
That's my job, to make them look good.
Washington, Pennsylvania, a comfortable, sleepy little town where nothing much happens often. That is, until some of the town's zombies start acting up again.
Action zombies.
This is the area where the original film Night of the Living Dead was made, and this is the town where they are filming the remake. So this is the town where the movie company came to find its stars, the unactors who would play the undead.
I think for the most part, just the whole thing is in such a rural place. We wanted, I want to say, the hillbilly, redneck, really unsophisticated look, and that's not meant to be demeaning in any way. It's just that country, if you want a farmer, go find a farmer look.
In real life, they can be farmers or physicists, but they are never professional actors. The movie company prefers to use people who happen to live in the area.
If there were movie stars in it, it would destroy the whole feeling of the scare. If you were walking through a cemetery, and I'm sure if you've ever been in the cemetery, you must have felt at some point, wouldn't it be creepy? Because you know what you're standing on, you know. Wouldn't it be creepy if one of them just came back?
Yeah, that sounds pretty creepy. So, is there a zombie school of acting? As it turns out, there is. It begins with the advice of the film's original director, George Romero.
When George was directing his films, there was the Three Dead films. He only gave one lesson, and that's don't drag your foot. Just don't drag your left foot. It looks too much like the mummy, you know. We even had movement instructors come in and do exercises with our stable of zombies.
And they have obviously been effective. Most of these zombies are frighteningly realistic.
Zombie on the left, raise your hand.
You sort of lead with your eyes.
I just think about, you know, either grabbing people and tearing their flesh off. You know?
This is not a glamour job. These people stand around in the cold for hours. They do take after take from dusk to dawn, and you know what? They're having a really good time.
The one night I scared my mom half to death.
So what does it take to be a zombie?
I think it takes a lot of patience and a lot of desire to want to sit through the makeup and the wardrobe, and just a certain spunk that you want to get out there and be a monster.
The next thing I knew, she asked me to be a zombie. I wasn't sure how to take that, but I wasn't sure how to get out of it either. Reluctantly, I sat down and let the makeup man bring out the zombie in me. I look like an old pizza. What is this?
It's called gel blood.
What's it made of?
It's made of it's real blood that we take from dead bodies.
No, I'm kidding. What's it made of?
It's Caro syrup.
It tastes like mud, which gets us to the next step of the process, costume. The style is decomposition chic. Once you're done, you feel like a dustbin in an overcoat. Now all that was left was the acting. That was easy. I was already scared stiff.
Let your hands hang down.
Yeah.
And your jaw has to be slack. Just relax your jaw and look up.
Okay.
And never, you're blind. Never stare at anything, okay?
Okay.
And just, I tell you what, walk right toward me. Now, okay? Over here.
I'm practicing.
Mark.
Action. That's a cut.
Well, I made it. I lived through my Hollywood debut, so to speak. I know I'm not much of an actress, but if a reviewer happens to see me and says that I'm lifeless and dead, I guess that'll be a compliment.